That is Kia's new Cerato GT. It's Kia's latest performance car. How much of a performance car? Well, we're gonna find out. Now, I'm gonna do something I never do. I'm gonna break this video review down into sections. So, price and features, performance, practicality, safety, and I'm gonna give each section a score out of 10. And that way, the score at the end will make a bit more sense. Ready? Let's go. Let's start with the price. How much does it cost and what do you get? Now, depending on where you're watching this and when you're watching it, prices may vary. But at the launch of this car, the list price was $32,990. Now, that's before any on-road costs and all those charges you've got to pay to get it actually out there. Now, also at the launch, they were offering a drive-away deal, $31,990. Now, Kia offer these deals all the time and they last forever. Well, not forever, but for a long time. So, you might be watching this in 6 weeks or 6 months' time. That deal still might stand. So ask your dealer, see if it's still going on. Let's have a look inside. Inside, you've got an 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a digital radio, sat-nav, wireless phone charging, and an 8-speaker JBL sound system. Also standard is dual-zone climate control, plus heated and ventilated sports leather seats. And you also get this, a key. It's a proximity key. It means you can put it in your pocket and walk away, lock the car, just like that. Now, the score for price and features for the Cerato GT is 9 out of 10. Design. Is it hot or not? The Cerato GT comes as a sedan and a hatch. From the front, they look like angry identical twins. And from the back, they look damned good. I mean, how much does that look like a mini BMW X4? And you know what? I don't even mind this gloss plastic which goes around the integrated twin exhaust. It's just that it's the side profile which burns my eyeballs. Let's have a look inside. After you. Fortunately, the GT's interior design is much nicer to look at. There's those leather seats with red stitching, the flat-bottomed steering wheel, and those alloy pedals. The only problem is the interior is kind of let down by some cheap feeling materials and basic elements. Like the window sills in the back here are really hard plastic, and so's this back of the center console here. Up front, you've got cheap plastics around the glove box. These dials just look a little bit basic, and I'm not a fan of the way this sticks up the touchscreen like a billboard. Time for the score. I'm going to give it, for design, out of 10, a 7. Okay. Practicality. How usable is the space inside? Let's start with the boot. Now, here you go. Who do you reckon has the biggest boot, the sedan or the hatch? If you said sedan, you are right. The sedan has a 502-litre boot, the hatch has a 428-litre boot. A little bit of a difference, but what the sedan doesn't have is this handy under boot floor storage. It's like a bento box for, you know, your wet shoes and your muddy pajamas. On the side here, you've got like a little well. I've used it mainly for carrying bottles, wine bottles, so they don't fall over. Let me show you the legroom inside. Now, I'm 191 centimeters tall, which is pretty tall for a human. This seat's in my driving position, and check this out. I've got about that much room. Now that's way more room than, say, a Toyota Corolla. And the sedan has about the same legroom as well. Now, look, as I said, I've been using this as you know, the Cerato as a daily driver, not the GT, but the Sport. And my 4-year-old son's been sitting just in this position right here in his car seat. Now, he complains about it a lot, you know, I'm tired, the sun's in my eyes, I don't like olives. But one thing he's never complained about while sitting in the Cerato is not being able to see out the window. And that's because he can see out the window. Some small cars have really high window sills, but not the Cerato GT hatch. Now, in terms of bits and pieces, you've got 2 cup holders in the back here, 2 up the front. You've got bottle holders in all the doors. You've got air vents here. You've got a USB for charging up there and a USB for media up there. You've got a wireless charging point, as we've also already mentioned, and you've got that 12 volt up there for, I don't know, blow up mattresses. Score. For practicality, I am going to give this an 8 out of 10. Engine and transmission. What's under the bonnet? This. It's a 1.6 litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder engine. And even though it's smaller than the 2 litre that's in a regular Cerato, it makes more power and more torque. It's not the only thing that Kia's done to make it a GT. They've also upgraded the suspension. And the problem with that is that they've done a really good job. And what I mean by that is that this car now handles superbly. And just means you want more power. Transmission, it's a 7-speed dual clutch automatic. It's really good, there's no jerkiness. You can't get a manual, and that's a little bit of a shame. For engine and transmission, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. What's it like to drive? Okay, let's motor. Now, I have been living with the Cerato Sport Hatch, not the Cerato GT. We're here at the launch of the Cerato GT, but I've had a Cerato Sport Hatch to test at home. Now, it doesn't get the engine, it doesn't get the upgraded chassis and suspension and all of that, but there are a lot of similarities between that and this car. Things like that blind spot, that little tiny rear quarter window is like a little porthole. And the way the roof slopes back, it does limit your visibility back there. There's a bit of a blind spot, which makes parking sometimes a little bit tricky. But you do have a reversing camera. Now, in terms of the picture quality of that reversing camera, it's not the best. I've seen better out there. Really, at night time, it starts to get a bit ordinary. Now, we were talking about that ride a bit earlier. So, what Kia's local engineers have done is they've tuned the car for better handling. Now, always, it seems that if it's either handling or comfort, you can't really have both unless you've got adaptive suspension, and it doesn't have adaptive suspension. So, many of you watching this are probably going to find, especially like we are now, just driving it around town over speed bumps, you're probably going to find the ride a little bit too firm. We're down in Melbourne here and we're driving over tram tracks, and it's a little bit jarring, especially if you're a passenger. You notice that firm ride even more. Now, when we get out on the open road, when you're driving the car, you completely forget about it. I was riding shotgun though, and you are aware of those bumps because you're not as engaged as you are if you're holding a steering wheel. We're going to head out there in just a moment. All right, we are out on the open road here, and this is where the Cerato GT is totally in its element. Shifter over to the right, that puts the car into sport mode. And that quickens the response from the engine, makes it a bit more aggro. Now, yes, it's still very firm like it was in the city, but I'm really not noticing those bumps at all. All I'm noticing is that this car is going around these corners exactly how I want it to. That chassis work that Kia Australia has done to this car is outstanding. This car handles superbly, and you can hear that engine working hard. It just needs a bit more grunt. It could handle a bit more grunt. That's how good this chassis is. All right, so yeah, just cruising along a little bit. We're heading back to the city again. Look, there's so much to love about this car. The pedal feel is fantastic under my feet. The driving position is really, really good. I can sit as low as I want, I'll sit low. I like sitting low and looking straight over the steering wheel. Visibility, apart from that blind spot at the back, is really good from the front and sides. So, a score for its driving. What am I going to give it? Yes, that engine could do with more power, but the chassis and suspension that this car has makes it superbly dynamic. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Fuel. Is it thirsty? The GT's engine is the most powerful in the Cerato range, as I've mentioned. It's also the most fuel efficient. Kia says that you'll see a fuel economy of 6.8 litres per 100 kilometres, and that goes for both the hatch and the sedan. Now, I have just driven the sedan and the hatch back to back. We drove 130 k's in the hatch, and the fuel economy, according to the trip meter, was 7.6 litres per 100. The sedan, the trip meter, after 300 k's was saying 8.4. Now, that doesn't mean the sedan drinks more, and it's not thirstier, it just means that we were pushing it a bit harder, and the road was very, very good. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for fuel. Safety features. The Cerato GT comes with a maximum 5-star ANCAP rating. It comes with cameras, radars, it's got AEB with pedestrian and cyclist detection, it's got blind spot warning, it's got lane keeping assistance, it's got rear cross traffic alert, and it's got adaptive cruise control. I'm giving the Cerato GT for safety 8 big ones out of 10. Warranty. How much does it cost to own? The Cerato GT is covered by Kia's 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty. They've had that for years and it's still outstanding. Most people are only moving to 5 just now. The Cerato GT is also covered by 7 years of capped price servicing. That's excellent. Do you know what I'm going to give it? Out of 10? I'm going to give it a 10. 10 out of 10. Okay, time for the final score. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. That car's not for everybody. Some people are going to find the ride in that car just a little bit too firm. But what you get in return is superb handling. Now, it's great value, super safe, and it's stacks of fun. So, the final score. I'm going to give the Kia Cerato GT 8.1 out of 10.